GamingBolt presents 15 things you need to know before you buy The Crew 2. 2014's The Crew was a game that had a lot of potential and good ideas, but unfortunately it was let down by significant issues. In spite of those issues, it managed to sell quite well enough in fact that Ubisoft greenlit a sequel. The Crew 2 is almost upon us, and it looks like developers Ivory Tower are looking to make a lot of necessary improvements. It looks bigger and better, while at the same time there's some stuff that looks concerning. As we gear up for its launch, in this feature we're going to take a look at what we feel are 15 of the most vital pieces of information out there right now about The Crew 2. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Persistent open world. Just like its predecessor, The Crew 2 is going to be an open world game, and just like its predecessor, that open world setting is going to be a persistent one. This means pretty much what you think. The world exists independently of the player. Events will happen and tournaments will occur. It's a playground for players to race in at all times. And there's something comforting about it when it's put that way, isn't there? Always online. Of course, to be that kind of persistent open world, The Crew 2 also has to be an always online game. Yes, similar to its predecessor, The Crew 2 will require a mandatory online connection if you want to play it. This is a world that always exists, regardless of whether or not you're playing, allowing players to always interact with the game and with each other. It should be interesting to see how The Crew 2 handles this, because its predecessor's always online nature was one of the things it drew criticism for. Locations. Another area where The Crew 2 will be similar to its predecessor is the map itself. Like the first game, this will be set in all of the United States, the mainland parts at the very least. It will be a condensed version of the states, but a huge number of cities, states, countrysides, and all sorts of other locations will be included in this game. Map size. The map size, as you can already imagine, will be pretty huge considering the fact that the game is set in basically the entire United States of America. The map itself will be more or less as large as the one in the first game was, but considering just how large that was in and of itself, size certainly won't be an issue here. The developers have also confirmed that driving from coast to coast in the game will take around 40 to 60 minutes. Vehicle types. But of course, driving won't be the only way to traverse the game's massive map. Perhaps the biggest and most exciting addition in The Crew 2 is that of other kinds of vehicles. This time around, players will be able to control a large variety of vehicles, from cars and trucks and motorbikes to even things like planes and boats. So yeah, while driving is going to be the focus, which is obvious really, flying planes and driving boats is also going to be a huge focus in The Crew 2. Fast Fave. In fact, it looks like The Crew 2 is truly going to leverage that variation in kinds of vehicles to its advantage, thanks to a new mechanic known as Fast Fave. While players are driving around in free drive mode, with the simple push of a button, they'll be able to seamlessly and immediately switch between controlling a land vehicle, a boat, or a plane. This definitely provides a lot of opportunities for pure freeform sandbox gameplay. Variation between vehicles. Of course, having all of these different kinds of vehicles would be no fun if they all controlled the exact same. Apparently though, that won't be an issue in The Crew 2. Each vehicle will have its own unique physics and handling mechanics, which means driving a dirt bike will be significantly different than piloting a plane, which will be significantly different than driving a boat. As it should be, of course. Playstyles. There will be 4 different hub worlds in The Crew 2, and each of these will facilitate and put a focus on completely different kinds of gameplay, which means that the game will encourage different playstyles for different players based on what area of the map that you're in. These styles will be off-road, pro racing, street racing, and freestyle. Over-the-top gameplay. It may have become pretty clear to you by now, but The Crew 2's focus clearly isn't on authenticity. I mean, jumping off of a ramp in a 4x4, then transforming into a plane midair only to transform into a boat before dive bombing into the river isn't very authentic. The focus, instead, is on bombastic, chaotic, over-the-top, open-world gameplay, or, being pure, unadulterated, brash fun. With the tools this game has at its disposal, if developers Ivory Tower handle things right, they might have something truly special on their hands. Vehicle customization. This really isn't much of a surprise. All racing games should, and mostly do, have customization for their vehicles, and The Crew 2 won't be any different in this regard. Customization in the game will be both aesthetic and mechanical, and all vehicles in the game, land, air, or water, will have customization. Just how that will work and how deep it goes are details that the developers have not yet revealed. Progression system. The Crew 2's progression system will be one that affords absolute freedom to the player in how they want to progress, or so the developers have said. Fame will be the ultimate experience points that will feed the progression system, and this can be gained by a number of activities, from completing story missions, completing isolated challenges, or pulling off tricks and stunts in the open world. Online features. Of course, it's obvious that online play is a huge focus of the Crew 2's entire experience. The world itself, as we've discussed, will be an always online persistent open world, which means constant player interaction will be a huge part of the experience, meaning that not only will players constantly be racing against each other in events, but will also be interacting with each other through leaderboards and more. Co-op. If you want to play with other people rather than against them, that will also be an option. For instance, you will be able to join up to 4-player crews and will be allowed to pick whichever kind of vehicle you want. In fact, there will also be rally raid events in the game which will be focused on more of an open-ended exploration, allowing you to explore the land, water, and air environments freely with your friends. Engine updates. Ivory Tower have apparently been listening to some of the criticism the first game received and are looking to make improvements in those areas. For instance, they claim to have addressed many of the connectivity and AI issues in the game, while they have also redone the physics engine in order to make the handling of the vehicles much better. Additionally, the game will also be receiving visual enhancements, and by the looks of what we've seen so far, it definitely looks really good. Xbox One X and PS4 Pro enhanced. The Crew 2 looks like it's going to be a pretty good looking game already, but just like any other major upcoming release, the open world racer will also be receiving enhancements for the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. What exactly these enhancements will be is something Ivory Tower and Ubisoft haven't chosen to reveal yet, but we're hoping it will be something significant. A higher frame rate count seems like the ideal way to go, especially for a racer, but we've yet to see whether that will indeed be the case. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.